Hello and welcome to week 14 of Electric Football, the show that begs the question why. I'm Stu Pace.
I'm Steve Brown, and it does beg the question why.
Well, here we are again, as usual, in the Cosmos Club of Fairlawn, bringing you absolutely ridiculous advice and strategies to win the week of your local football pool.
So let's do it. Let's get down to
Okay.
it. We've got the Thursday night game, which is the Texans at the Jaguars.
Ooh,
and
begging the question why.
Well, I'll tell you this. You got to give Electric Football some credit because we picked the Jags 2 weeks in a row and been right. Let's see anybody else pull that one off.
Let's see how we pick together here.
As far as this one goes, as a Viking fan, I am contractually obligated. I've signed a waiver and everything that I have to pick the Texans in this one.
Okay.
I need them to win. They played the better game last week, giving New England a scare. It's enough for me to, well, I need them to win because I want us to move lower and lower in the draft, and I wish we would stop winning.
Yeah, what the hell's gone into them?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. They don't want to get a great quarterback. They want to have 3 mediocre quarterbacks the rest of the decade, evidently. Right. But you know, talent-wise, the Texans are the better team. They played the better game last week, as far as I'm concerned. Give me the Texans, Stu.
Jacksonville keeps playing inspired ball, and I don't know what to do here. Houston gave up a huge lead. You know, Brady's been falling behind, and then for some reason at halftime, someone online suggested that, you know, they're videotaping again, but I'm sorry, he's just that good. But for some reason, no team can stop him in Act 2 of a 2-act play. So, you know, can Jacksonville be Houston? I don't know. They are home. I'd love to say yes, but I don't think so. I think it's Houston.
All right. Colts at the Bengals, and both teams had impressive wins last week versus the Titans and the Chargers.
Right.
I think I probably missed both of those games. I may have gotten. Sure. I don't know. Go back and check the tape.
Yeah, nobody else. The Colts.
Nobody else watched it, so nobody's going to check me on this and go, "Oh, Steve, no, I saw it." I think the Bengals have the tougher defense. I think they have the tendency to make the bigger plays. Dre Kirkpatrick making a big play last week. With that, coupled with the home field advantage, I got the Bengals winning this, and I got them winning it fairly big, actually.
Yeah, you know, Indy has the 20th ranked passing offense, so the whole Andrew Luck thing, granted he has injuries, but still, 20th ranked passing. Since he is better statistically on every level, special teams, offense, defense, and they're home, winning as they should this season. This has been their season, predicted to do well, and I think they continue here. I think Bernard and Ben Jarvis are now both contributing pretty heavily in the run game, and that makes it easier for Ginger to throw the ball. So I'm taking Cincy here.
Okay. We've got the Browns at New England, and New England gets a second easy game in a row after holding off the Texans. Here's a hint. You don't have to be Bill Belichick to figure this one out. Cover Josh Gordon.
Never heard of him.
The man's had 200-yard games in a row. He had nearly 500 yards in 2 games. That's a career for most folks. Mm-hmm. Put Akeem Talib on him. Put some safety help over the top. Put Gronk on him. Do whatever you have to. Stop him and you stop the Browns.
Yeah.
I think New England wins this one. I think they win it pretty easily.
Yeah, the Browns are 4th in defense. They're number 4 defense. Doesn't matter. Tom Brady is first in beating the crud out of everybody. So I'm taking Tom and the New England Patriots to pretty much wrap up the AFC East on Sunday.
All right. So we have the Raiders at the Jets, and an interesting...
Which begs the question, why?
An interesting phenomenon in New York is the disappearing wide receiver. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. A couple weeks ago, Hakeem Nicks wasn't there when they needed him. Last week, Santonio Holmes was only playing like a couple of plays. That's just freaking weird. And Stephen Hill, I mean, what happened to that guy? He was supposed to be like baby Megatron.
Yeah.
And now I guess he's been abducted by aliens. There should be black helicopters out looking for that guy.
I think you got to blame the round robin of quarterbacks on that. They never know who's going to throw to him, and it's timing. That's a timing.
Well, Santonio Holmes sitting isn't a question of that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's a coaching decision.
Yeah.
So
everybody was sitting on the. He sat Gino. He sat D. Milner. He sat Hill.
They got tired of Gino Plosions getting all over him. Get that Gino off me.
Get them stank on you.
And you know, Sims had a moment, had a chance, and didn't do much with it either. They're in a lot of trouble. The question that's being bandied around here is, is Rex already gone? And Speaking of like a little bit strange, give us a John. It's exciting. That guy is like he's the guy behind the curtain. He's back here somewhere. John Itzik. Um, the he's the quietest GM I've ever seen in New York City.
Oh, that's because it's his first year. Now I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, the Raiders are down to their McGloin, and neither team was impressive last week. But I'm going to take the Raiders here. I think the Jets, honestly, I mean, they have a good defense, and the defense hasn't quit, but they just cannot figure it out on offense.
Well, the Raiders have a good run game, and that plays to the Jets' strength, supposedly. However, Miami ran pretty well against the Jets in the game last week, surprisingly.
And Miami does not have.
And we don't have a good running game. However, it looked like the Jets just mailed it in the second half.
That's what I'm saying.
And maybe they all got the memo that Rex is out and they don't give a damn anymore. But I think it's stupid to pick against New York here. But I will. I'm taking Oakland.
Yeah, he called me stupid and then went along with it.
Stupid as well.
All right, if I was a Native American looking to protest the NFL, I think I might pick this game. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Redskins. I think I'd circle this one. For the Chiefs.
This not look good for us.
For the Chiefs, I think it's been clearly established that Denver is the better team.
Oh, God.
Sean Spencer is going to have Eric Decker nightmares. Like, he's going to wake up. And RG3 is going to be waking up, checking under the bed to see if Justin Tuck is under there. Yeah. Both guys just had horrible
annihilated
games. Them. But the Redskins have been off kilter a lot longer than the Chiefs have.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs had a good run to begin with. Talent-wise, they still have a better defense, I would say, than the Redskins do right now.
Yeah.
Obviously some secondary problems, but RG3 has not been anywhere near Peyton Manning.
And Andy Reid's the head coach. He's faced Washington, countless times. So I think that works in Kansas City's favor. Besides, they have the better defense, honestly.
So what I think we're both saying, folks, is take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, Al Morris is the key. If Al Morris can run and RG3 isn't getting killed, I think they have a chance. But I think the D of the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be going nuts this weekend.
When the defensive players from the other team are saying, like, I don't want to upset anybody, but RG3, you might want to think about sitting down, it's saying something that nobody thinks the guy's at full strength.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so we move on to the Vikes at the Ravens. And I got to tell you, the Ravens, they lucked out. Well, let's step up for a second.
Step out?
Yeah. The Tomlin thing.
Oops. Sorry, Mike.
We're in disagreement here.
Yes, we are.
I think he's completely at fault, and I think it's close to being proven that it was intentional.
I didn't say it was at fault. I said I don't think it's intentional.
You've got the Jets guy that did it and got fired. You've got Joe Flacco talking about it and getting grief about saying, like, oh, well, if we're going to lose the Super Bowl, I'd run out there and tackle the damn guy. If he's watching the Jumbotron, shouldn't he see that he's out on the field?
Well, he did.
Shouldn't you see the players coming at him?
I watched his presser, and I think he was genuine in saying, I'm watching. I always watch the Jumbotron to see how the lanes are going in, and then I saw me, and that's when he went, oh, crap.
Did it look to anybody else like he had a little mischievous smirk on?
Well, I think he was laughing. Listen, he's in an organization that doesn't tolerate that crap, and I don't think he's a guy that tolerates tomfoolery like that, if you want to call it Tomlin foolery.
Nice. I'd like to give Tomlin the benefit of the doubt.
I am. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
It's
I'm
borderline.
hoping he's Miami next year.
A guy that doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, though, is Emmanuel Sanders, who should have made that catch, and the Ravens should have been in a tie game at that point. Vikings, we wanted to get another tie. We couldn't quite manage it. Chicago decides to kick like a 47-yard field goal on second down.
Yeah.
It's pretty questionable to me. Like, I heard stats. I heard that about 75% of those are made, and I understand that Chicago's kicker is probably better than average.
And Trustman's a numbers guy. He came from the GM world, so, he's probably mathematically inclined.
There you go. But it turned into a big mistake because now the Vikings are going to have a worse draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
But to look at this game, I don't see any way that we go on the road and we take out the Ravens. I can't see it happening. Adrian Peterson is still a stud, and what's going to happen is he's going to wear himself out last season and this season, and if we ever do get good, it's going to be too late.
Yeah. But Baltimore's 30th against the run, and I think Minnesota could use that to their advantage with simply the best running back in the league. I think
we're giving up 80-yard touchdown passes to Alshon Jeffries and 200 yards to Alshon Jeffries, who is not fast.
Yeah.
What's Torrey Smith going to do to us?
I don't know because Baltimore is doing this to us. I have no idea what they're going to do. I'm going with Minnesota here, believe it or
Okay.
not.
I feel like such a crappy fan because I'm picking against this all year, which has turned out to be right most of the year. Anyway, Falcons at Green Bay. The big
Mhm.
question here is Aaron Rodgers going to come back or not? They're
Yeah.
reevaluating the
I just checked online before we started, and it's still no decision whether he isn't playing or not. So he could play.
There was talk of him playing on Thanksgiving, but they didn't want to put him in there for the Lions to just chew on.
Yeah.
And that's understandable.
Mhm.
If you're going to bring him back, and if you are trying to salvage the season against the Falcons, it's probably a good time. But the Falcons are finally starting to get some production from guys like Roddy White,
Mhm.
from Steven Jackson. They're not winning,
Right.
and they're not winning this game in Green Bay. That's my pick.
A for effort.
But it is nice to see them at least becoming, I don't know, competitive, at least getting some value
Mhm.
out of the guys they put money into. Give me the Packers if Rodgers plays. Give me a tie if it's Matt Flynn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt Flynn showed that
Oh,
he had one game, and that's all he's had, folks. I don't know why he keeps getting picked up. I'd rather have Sanchez, to be honest with you. But there's no reason to believe Atlanta has gotten the ship righted with a win last week. So it's the second road game for the Birds. Green Bay still playing for something. Atlanta's just going to meander in there. On a wing and a prayer, I'm taking it back.
Okay. Buffalo at Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay really generated nothing against Carolina, but it's hard to generate any offense against Carolina. The thing that surprised me is they got no pressure on Cam Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo took Atlanta into overtime. Buffalo has explosive plays out of C.J. Spiller, but they only give him the ball like 10 or 15 times a game. And no denigration of Fred Jackson, but Buffalo's not a good team. If they're going to win some games, it's going to come on the explosive plays. Get the ball into C.J. Spiller's hands.
EJ, CJ, and FJ.
Yeah, get it into their hands just a few more times.
Mhm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I think Glennon was overwhelmed by a superior defense.
Well, they're the second worst offense in the league. So, I think Shiano anointing him the quarterback of the future was premature in this case. You had a couple good games to start with, and then everyone caught on.
Yeah, maybe that's it too, or maybe he's just going up against a much tougher defense in Carolina. But he's not going against that tough defense in Buffalo. They're at home. If his confidence isn't ruined, I'm taking Tampa Bay.
I'm taking the cattle over the Pirates.
Okay. Dolphins at Pittsburgh, and as is traditional here on Electric Football, I'm going to let Stu start with
Since
the
you
Dolphins.
get the Vikings, I get the Dolphins. Pittsburgh's a 3-point dog at home. Tomlin is going to be the 12th player on the field, evidently.
Hell of a special teams player.
So you can't be 12. 11 on 12 isn't fair. But there's no point in thinking Miami can win here. The win against the Jets, albeit a 20-point win against a team that gave up at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Miami can win here, but it comes down to the quarterback. Pittsburgh's a tough place to play. Ben has the chops to do so. Ryan Tannehill is not Ben. I'm taking Pittsburgh here.
Okay. I am too. I think their defense matches up really well against Miami's offense. There's a question of the concussion for the running back, and if you see that, it's really scary.
Yeah, he doesn't even remember the play.
I'm surprised he remembers his name.
That was brutal.
That was brutal. I think Pittsburgh's going to do everything they can possibly to neutralize Mike Wallace. I don't think they want him burning them at home. And I think Pittsburgh's righted the steel mill a little bit, so to speak. And I'm taking Pittsburgh also.
Yeah, okay, can't argue that at all. Lions and the Eagles. I don't like the Lions in an open air stadium.
Okay.
It's kind of like Seattle on the road and the Lions outside. Doesn't really work for me. The Eagles are better in every phase of the game on paper. Offensively, defensively, statistics-wise, I looked it up to make sure. The Eagles are the better team on paper. They're going to be at home. The Lions, I don't remember them. Would they beat Washington for the first time in 100 years, either this year or last year at home? And they've never won on the East Coast. They're not an East Coast team. I'm taking the Eagles here. They're playing for something, and I think at home they got to show that they can take the NFC East with a little luck. Anyway.
Well, both teams are playing for something.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's a crucial game for
if
both
Philadelphia
teams.
wasn't, I'm saying that I would probably go with the Lions.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, yeah. Philadelphia definitely has the motivation. They definitely have the home field. And Nick Foles is putting in a miracle season as far as not turning the ball over. I believe he's up to 19. I think I screwed it up the first time I mentioned it and said he was at 18 instead of 16. But he's at 19 touchdown passes without an interception.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Stafford is a turnover. He's a turnover waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. What was his name? Jeremy Ross on the Lions. Did you watch the games Thanksgiving?
I did. Yep.
Oh man, this guy's got some moves.
Yep.
Like if I needed a special teamer / backup wide receiver, I'm going out and finding number 12 on the Lions and saying, how do you feel about coming over to the Vikes? That guy was impressive. It's not too often that I see one player, especially a guy that doesn't get many touches, and go, whoa, who's this guy?
Yeah, and on national stage, man.
For the Chiefs, that Hemingway guy is a hell of a special teams player too. Anyway, but backing out of this, go into the game. The key to this is if the Eagles stay turnover free, they will win this game. Home field advantage, good running attack. I'm not sure exactly what you said before, but I think the Lions have the better defense.
They don't. No, I looked it up.
That's amazing to me.
Statistically, they're not. They're not there.
That's really surprising to me because I don't think of the Eagles as having a very tough defense, and I think of the Lions as having at least a ferocious pass rush, and could push up the.
Well, yeah, don't forget, but they're counting everything: yards given up, touchdown. I'm just saying statistically that I looked up, the Eagles are superior in both ends of the ball, offense and defense.
Okay, well, I think we're both in agreement here. I think we think the Eagles can take this one, and I think
we do.
They're going to stay in the hunt for the NFC East because of that, and the NFC North is just going to be a jumbled freaking mess.
Most of the divisions are right now. I mean, the Patriots are ahead by a mile, Seattle's ahead by a good distance, but all the others, everybody else is 6-6 and 7-5, and there's 14 teams that are literally still in contention. But only 2 are going to make it. I think Baltimore gets to the playoffs.
And if you've tuned in here for playoff scenarios for 5 and 4, these teams like, oh, they're 6-6, they've got a shot if they do. You're not going to get that today, folks.
We're realistic.
We're just doing this week's games. And speaking of this week's games, Titans at Denver.
Yes.
And I know everyone was wondering what Noshawn Moreno's mutant power was, and it's evidently to be able to shoot streams of water out of his eyes.
Oh God, was it the most disgusting?
How do you cry that hard?
Oh my God!
It was like freaking Niagara Falls. He was shooting like fire hose streams out of his eyes.
Man,
I should have cried. Well, when I'm at my father's funeral, I cried.
I think he was just full.
It's one tear at a time. He's got a river.
How much water did he have in him?
Oh my God, that was impressive. Anyway, you've got Moreno and Monte Ball power rushing. You've got Eric Decker catching 4 or 5 touchdowns. You've always got that little Wes Welker out there to pick up a third down.
Got Jacob Tammy.
If they get Thomas back, they've got a good backup tight end.
Yeah.
The Titans are now arguing whether Locker or Fitzpatrick is their quarterback of the future. That's not a good sign.
Wow.
The one ability that Locker really doesn't have is durability. And that's crucial.
And it's killing this team.
Yeah, it really is. But Fitzpatrick seems able to come up with the worst timing of turnovers ever. So I don't think there's a question that the Broncos roll in this one.
Right. There's a reason these teams are 5 games apart in wins. Peyton Manning. And
that's the notes, folks.
Okay. Our teleprompter needs to be changed once in a while. The Titans' defense, while decent, will be no match for Mannington, Welker, and Decker, and Tammy, and Lions, and Tigers, and Bears, oh my. Not at home. This could be another blowout, in my opinion.
All right.
I'm taking Denver.
Rams at the Cardinals. And here are my failed upset picks from last week, guys.
Yeah.
I thought both of these teams were going to get a win. I didn't realize when we did the picks that Andre Ellington was going to be out for the Cardinals, which leads to less of a run game, which leads to, why do I have the bump on my head? Which leads to more of Carson Palmer turning over the ball. Why did that bump get bigger? Good God. I can't even find the bump. But it led to Carson Palmer trying to do more, and Carson Palmer trying to do more at this stage of his career is a bad thing. I am surprised that when I watched the Rams defense, the few times I've been able to watch them, they look really impressive. When I'm not watching them, they suck.
Yeah, they've really been inconsistent this year.
So if Ellington is back, which they expect him to be, or at least he's saying he will be, this is only Tuesday, I think the Cardinals win this one. I think they run the ball a little bit more. and I think that's the difference in this.
Yeah, there's no distinct advantage for either of these teams in personnel in any manner, shape, or form. The Cardinals' defense is a little better, on paper and statistically. So I'm just going with the home team in a very close game. I mean, this could go either way. The Rams tend to play their divisional games pretty damn well, so it could very well turn out that the Rams win. But I'm taking the Cardinals.
All right. Seattle at San Francisco, and man, Seattle cemented themselves as a Super Bowl favorite for me last night. They held Drew Brees under 150 yards. They gave up about 60 yards rushing. They did everything right. Russell Wilson, even his interviews are good. The guy's got leadership written all over him. It's amazing. The way he was reading Junior Gillette on the handoff and then the runs.
The close-up was great to show what he was doing.
That was one of the best moments of football TV that I've ever seen.
Yep.
Like they really showed you.
They nailed you exactly why that play worked.
You could see his eyes, and when he made the choice, it was impressive.
Yeah, Gillette goes like this. He pulled the ball back, and Wilson went that way.
And he did it a couple of times. Plus, you never find yourself, about Russell Wilson, you never find yourself saying he should have.
Mm-hmm.
You never go, he ran for 5 yards, but he should have passed to.
Yeah.
Miller was open in the end. He makes the right decisions all the time.
And to me, that's the difference between him and Kaepernick. His decision making clearly heads above Colin Kaepernick. So
okay. So Seattle may not have Harvin back. Imagine what they could be if they had Harvin and Sidney Rice healthy the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But I fully expect them to cement themselves as the rulers of the division and as Super Bowl odds-on Super Bowl favorites.
Oh, I think so. At this point, you have to put them right there at number one.
There you go, you Pat.
However, are you taking them?
No. What do you mean? Am I taking? Of course, I'm taking them in this game.
Okay.
I am taking them in this game.
All right. I don't know. Let's see if the Seattle road theory stays, close at hand here. They're not great on the road. They lose games that they shouldn't win on the road.
That they should win.
They lose games that they should win.
Right.
I apologize. And I don't think this is a game that they necessarily should win. These are kind of close teams, mirror image, same kind of quarterback. As we said before, I think Wilson's the smarter and makes less mistakes. I think Kaepernick shows his immaturity when he's under pressure. However, I'm taking the home team just because history tells me to do that in this series. And I know this year's team has nothing to do with the last 50 years worth of teams Seattle moved to the NFC, was originally AFC. But however long they've been playing each other, historically, take the home team. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I mean, that's been proven over the seasons. That's been proven. And when you say they're close teams, I believe that at the beginning of the year. I don't know that I believe that anymore. I believe Seattle has established themselves firmly as the better team. They do not travel well. Man, did you hear the crowd even after the game?
I'll tell you this.
Crazy.
As someone who is suffering from hearing loss and having a deaf son, I couldn't go to a game like that at all anymore. I mean, just being aware of the surroundings. That's a real dangerous situation. One of my friends was kidding, but it's not funny. Imagine being the kid delivering the Coca-Cola for 8 games in Seattle, and then at the end of the year you're going, I can't hear as well or something. It's a dangerous situation, and I know all the people are trying to make that meter go all the way to the top. Not really good for you, folks. Just a point I wanted to make.
There we go. All right, so we go to the New York Giants at the Chargers, and this is the 2004 draft playing out again as Manning and Rivers. Manning pretty much told Rivers, you'll be playing here, I'll be playing there. Archie sort of orchestrated that.
Yeah. I tell you where my son would play.
And right now, I'd say Rivers is playing better. Now, if you ask me whose career I would have rather had to this point, obviously it's Eli.
2 rings to Rivers.
Right, exactly. So Eli seems to have made, or Archie, whoever made that choice, seems to have made the right choice.
Rivers is just always my precious.
Well, you do wonder if Eli and Norv Turner had hooked up, what might have happened.
Yeah, because Eli Manning be home.
They had great teams, and Gates had a big fumble last week, which is a shame because he's nearing, I guess, the end of his great run. But it has been a great run, and he's sort of an underappreciated guy right now. Anyway, to me, home field advantage and the more reliable weapons go to Rivers right now.
I agree.
Okay.
And I think they will win this game, but I'm taking the Giants because it helps Miami.
Okay. There you go. A little playoff scenario stuff for you.
Uh-huh.
I can do the Vikings playoff scenario for you. We ain't
We're
got
done.
one.
Out, still out.
All right. So now we have the probably the game of the week as far as I'm concerned. It's the Panthers at New Orleans, and the at New Orleans is a big part of this because
Sure is.
if it was in Carolina right now, 8 wins in a row, it'd be awful hard to pick them, especially after New Orleans showing last night. But can Carolina do what Seattle was able to do in New Orleans? An angry Saints team. I think the key to this game is this is going to sound crazy, but I think the key to this game is Rob Ryan holding his defense back, not being over aggressive, not sacrificing everything for the pass rush or crashing down like they were and letting Cam Newton get loose on the edge and letting Cam Newton beat him with rollouts and letting Cam Newton beat him with running. I think if they play a disciplined defense and Jimmy Graham does what Jimmy Graham does, I think New Orleans wins this game. I hate to say it. I've been riding Carolina the whole time. If it was at a neutral site, I'm taking Carolina. But in New Orleans, after this loss on Monday night, Carolina does have the advantage too, and it is a huge advantage of having the longer week to prepare and to heal up. And New Orleans
and not fly 3,000 miles back home.
Right. And New Orleans has a very, very shortened week, which may diminish the home field advantage a bit. But I'm taking New Orleans to pull this one out and to sort of establish themselves as the playoff team in the division.
I'm still not in love with Carolina. They're playing great ball.
Oh, it's a beautiful country.
Oh. I'm not in love with the Carolina Panthers, per se. And you know what? I agree with you. Neutral site or in Carolina, it's a Carolina game. But I just think the Dome is a place where the Saints just seem to roll over people. Even maybe when they shouldn't, they just seem to have it going there. You don't mess with Joe Boo.
Okay. I don't even know what that means.
Joe Boo.
Joe Boo what?
Major League.
Who dat?
Joe Boo.
Who dat? Who dat going to hold the Saints to under 150?
Joe Boo is going to.
The Bears and the Cowboys. So this Cowboys at Bears, I should say.
That's what I have on my paper.
And the Bears started hibernation a little early against my Vikings. I don't know what caused them to just suddenly quit scoring, but they certainly did. Cowboys didn't impress me at all. I have not seen a receiver have so many catch drops as Des Bryant in a long time. He gets his hands on the ball. To me, they're catches, and then suddenly the ball is loose. And it's not like he's a small guy and it's getting knocked loose. He's huge. Strange thing to watch. But I think the Cowboys are establishing a running game. I think Romo is playing with confidence. I don't think the Bears have what it takes, even at home, to beat the Cowboys at this point. I think the Bears are going to just sort of – I don't think Detroit's going to win the division so much as the Bears are just going to hand it to them. Here you go.
The key is Romo. If Romo gets off to a lousy start, the Bears can roll on this team pretty quickly. They're known for their fumble recoveries for touchdowns, those balls flying in the air that they pick off, and somehow they always get back into the end zone with it. So that's the key. If Romo is turnover free, I have no doubt that the Cowboys will win. I don't think Alshon Jeffrey has another day like that for a long time. But Romo has a little trouble in the first quarter, and the Bears get up a little bit. They're going to send the house, and Romo's going to look miserable. So I'm taking the Cowboys, but Romo, you better play well.
All right. Well, that covers the week. I'd like to throw a question out there for anybody that's hung in for the 28 minutes and 36 seconds.
You got to be kidding me.
We just reached. We're setting a record here. And I'd like people to tell me who they think the most clutch quarterback is. We stirred up 2 seconds worth of controversy.
Current?
No. I want to know who the most clutch quarterback is ever. And the obvious answer, the one that people are going to immediately, well, it's Joe Montana. Well,
Oh, see, we already differed.
We already differed. I want you to try and factor in, when you're thinking about this, I want you to try and factor in the players they had around them. Because I got to tell you, I don't think Joe Montana was the most clutch player ever when he was throwing to Taylor and Rice and had Roger Craig to back him up.
I'm going to predict who's going to answer this for us and probably put up some really impressive statistics to prove it. Dolphin 316. I'm counting on you.
All right, but I want some of the rest of you guys out there. Go back if you have to. Do modern. I don't care. But, and throw out. We want some comments this week, folks. So throw out who you think is a choker and throw out who you think is clutch. And when you factor in the clutch, if they're surrounded by 15, Hall of Famers, take him down a notch.
Yeah, we're going to argue you a little bit.
Try and find
Well,
a guy.
he is. I'm
Try and find the
interested.
not obvious answer to this. Okay.
All right, cool.
So that's my question for the week. Who was the most clutch quarterback ever? And if you want to throw in
why?
Who's the choker, throw him in. And yeah, back your comment up a little bit.
Yeah, don't just say Steve Young.
The two of us will come back and fire back at you.
Yep. All right, that's week 75 of the 2013 season from the Cosmos Club in Fairlawn. I'm Stu Pace.
He's Stu Pace.
I am. That's Steve Brown.
Good night, everybody.
Peace on you.